Well, welcome back to Edge of Indy. Hey, it's a fantastic time when we can have beer in the studio, but beer and cake? Say it ain't so. We actually have with us Eddie Sahm, owner of Big Lug Canteen. Sir, how are we doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You brought us beer and cake.
I did.
And beer cake.
I brought you beer cake.
We also have our own Nate Torvik.
Wow.
Lord almighty. Well, I mean, Brittany's usually right
I know.
there.
I grew 3, 7, 12 inches.
He is our chief evangelist over at Site Strategics. Gentlemen, you jumped in and you brought the brew. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. And you also, we want to make our viewers aware of a giveaway, right?
Yeah, I brought a couple gift cards, two $30 gift cards. They work at any of our restaurants. So Big Lug, Sam's, you can go to anywhere and spend that cash. So
there are only a couple of Sahms around town. So
yeah, there's only a few. We haven't opened too many yet.
Yeah.
So we're literally giving our viewers free beer.
Free beer or food.
Or food.
Yeah, it depends on what you're into.
All right, I'm going to ask a question
Priorities
right
first.
now.
Yep.
Just so I can.
Uh-oh.
And go.
Oh no, I'm going to type it so
Oh,
I can
Lord
win a card.
almighty.
Oh man, what a letdown.
Okay, so we've got
sorry.
some. You're going to type so you can actually ask it on the air?
Yeah, so I can type it out loud and then I can read it like it was from a listener, right? And I'm just not going to say who it is.
Do you know how this show actually works out?
No.
Okay. While he's typing, give us your backstory of how you got to be into Big Lug.
Oh, backstory. So I grew up in the restaurant industry, right? My dad, Ed Sahm, opened up Sam's in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born in 1987. So from that point on, it was kind of you're in restaurants. From there, I went to Purdue University and studied HTM, Hospitality Tourism Management. Worked at a few different places. Kind of found like not only did I grow up in the industry, but I was into it.
Cool.
So from there, I bought Sam's place when I graduated. Took a loan out. Was scared to death. Luckily, it worked out better than I thought it would. So from there, I got into craft beer. Cooked a lot of food, hosted a lot of parties, did the whole thing. And beer seemed like something I loved it. I loved the community behind it. So Big Lug was spawned from there.
I dig it. I dig it. Okay, Nate, you evidently have there's a question on the live cast feed.
There is one. So, why the coffee cake? Sorry, the beer cake. It's
beer
not
cake.
coffee
It
cake
is
in
not.
this environment.
No.
It is a beer cake.
No, for sales purposes, it is coffee cake.
It is coffee cake.
But today,
yes.
tis beer cake. Yes.
So talk about the coffee cake a little bit. I've gone to Sam's for a long time, and you get a salad at Sam's, you can have a piece of coffee cake just in case you're curious. So when you sell about 20,000 coffee cakes per year,
In
give
that
or
realm.
take.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the coffee cake phenomenon.
It's one of the first things that everyone knows about our company.
Right.
I've told people that they say sugar cream pie is the Indiana food dessert. I would argue that coffee cake is right there with it. And the coffee cake was not meant to be where it is today. We found a recipe that we really liked. My aunt and my dad came up with a really nice product, and it just took off, man. I can't even describe it to people. It's not like we're putting something crazy in there. It's a pound cake. There's pecans. They're candied powdered sugar. But there's nothing special. But if
cocaine,
there's cocaine.
There's
cocaine.
PCT.
That's the asterisk.
It's powdered.
A little bit ecstasy.
It's coffee
That's what's
cake
in
with
the
an
powder.
asterisk.
Right. That's exactly right.
And you're selling 20 of them a week.
Yeah,
20,000 a week.
Exactly. So no, it's just one of those things that if you're from Indianapolis, more than likely you've probably have heard of the Sam's coffee cake, or you've had it somewhere, and then you're like, I've had this before, right? And so we've just kind of made a name for it, and we like to take it to places. We like to give it with salads. We like to really let people know that we just think it's a fun little thing. Everyone likes, dessert, sweet foods. I say everyone, but some crazy people don't, and that just honestly, it's like a serial killer.
Let's talk about that, Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
somebody
love
here
sweet stuff.
might
Yeah.
have a specific diet.
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
doesn't.
I'm anti-sweet stuff just because I've enjoyed it for such a long
No,
time.
and that's okay. I understand, if you're gluten-free, you're not going to sit here and pound this cake, right? But that's a pun. pun.
I
By the
caught
way.
see what you
You're
did there.
welcome.
Yep.
I just need to point that out for all my pun listeners.
all of my listeners.
But like there's people out there who are like, oh, I just don't like sweet things. Yeah. Oh, get out of here. You don't like sweet things. You might not eat them, but like, come on.
They
be
don't
crazy.
have souls if they don't.
I
like
agree.
to.
I agree. So coffee cake to us is we make a lot of different food, but it's one of those things that it brings people together. And I think more than anything, that's kind of what our company has become about, and want to help Indianapolis in that way, is to bring people together and create places that have that at the center of what we do. So coffee cake's right there.
Very cool. Well, I'm very happy that we didn't see you going into the fruit cake area because that's scary. I mean, that whole area is just.
It's a little iffy, and we've made a beer called Fruit Cake where we kind of put nuts in there. We had different types of dried fruit, different malts, different hops, and we wanted that kind of like, and it turned out pretty good. But also, it turned out very much like a fruit cake where it's like, I don't know if I want.
Yeah.
Right. This is a one-time thing.
Yeah,
we
we'll
did it.
do
And
it
was
once.
fun, and it was great. Yeah.
Well, can you share your experience about being a local business owner here in Indianapolis? What has your journey been like?
I come from a little bit different background than most people.
Yeah, you do.
Mine isn't necessarily as big of a risk, I guess you could say. So I always feel privileged in that way, and I try to pay that forward, helping other people, always trying to be open and honest with answers that I give to anything, and even things like this. But, as far as the local businessman, how it's gone from there, it's a nice community around here. People who want to help you, they want to talk to you, they want to see Indianapolis improve, and that to me is something that I really enjoy about this area and working in Indianapolis. Is everyone's competitive, everyone wants to make money. I'm not in here to tell people to send me their customers, but you definitely see people who want to see Indianapolis give better options for the people who live here. Give whether that's healthier or more vibrant or more localized, better for the economy.
Right.
It's in that way I think that everyone here is pretty open. So me growing up in this atmosphere, I had some privileges, but I've definitely seen a lot of people come on the scene and worked with them and tried to help them and also accept help. So I've enjoyed it. I've never really had a bad experience, honestly. I mean, I think if anything, maybe that's because I'm the guy who provides the bad experience. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm the weird guy in the room, right?
Well, I mean, you bring beer and cake. I mean, you're bound to win people over, right?
Yeah.
Only a couple though.
Yeah, maybe one or two.
So you and so Big Lug and Sam's Ale House right next door are both in Nora area, right across from North Central High School.
Yep.
And but it goes beyond that for you. So right there on the Monon. So people that are walking or biking or jogging or I don't know, dragging themselves down the Monon so they can get coffee cake, whatever that looks like. Yeah, people still do that. Prancer sizing is what I was going to go with, but so we'll stick there. So,
that's a visual.
But you and your business are striving to help create a better environment and a better atmosphere, especially in the Monon area.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to try and create more of a community and more of like a neighborhood look and feel over there in that area and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the heart of what we do is we make food and we sell beer. That's what we do. But I think the bigger picture and things that I'm hoping more people who open up restaurants or breweries like we have here, that this is what they have at the heart, which is improve your community, help people out, beautify things, give people something to do. Yeah, I know people got to eat. I know people got to drink beer. My goal is to make it taste good and look good and be something you want to spend your money on. But, with the Big Lug theme, it was, this is something we do, but so do a lot of other people. But not a lot of other people are having beautiful beer gardens outside, planting their own hops that they're going to use in their beer, giving people a place where they can pull right off the Monon and park their bike. I use a lot of local, artists to do all of our artwork inside. We try to do it all on our own. So one, it's a very unique experience that you want to introduce your friends and family to. But then two, it's also a really just unique place that the Monon didn't have before. Was an old abandoned building with dumpsters and fryers, and it's like, if it takes a little bit of money for me to beautify that, I feel like in the long run, that's going to win people over way more than a really good poutine. Which, hey man, that's good too. But
damn, he's like throwing down the words.
Let's not forget. Yeah, they've got killer poutine.
And don't get me wrong, that's the goal. I mean, that's what we do to make money. But to win people over, I think is, look, here's something fun to do. Here's something fun that it's not a chain. Your money is going to go right back in towards trying to improve this area. Hey, man, the more money you spend at our place, we want you to know that we're going to spend more money on making this, continuing to make this a place where it's going to be fun and vibrant, and you can bring your families and friends. And so that's the main goal. I think we've really decided that community building needs to be at the center of what we're trying to do. We're local guys. We're completely family owned, and that I feel like is understated. And with that being said, we live here. We want it to be fun to go to. So, I think that moving forward, everything we do is going to have that at the center. And Big Lug's done a pretty good job so far. We'll keep doing it, but there's improvements to be made. But so far, so good.
Speaking of center, you're downtown as well. So tell us about the new tap room.
Sure, yeah. So Sam's Tavern, I just came from there. I had to wash dishes today. So every cook was upset because it was extremely slow. I'm a good dishwasher. I'm a very methodical dishwasher.
He's a man of many talents, Eddie Sahm. He can cook, he can brew beer, he can wash dishes.
I can wash dishes with the best of them.
Yeah.
So we owned a restaurant there before. It was called Sam's Tavern. And I recently purchased it, and my dad and I are going to run it now. And we basically did it so we can sell growlers out of there now, potentially build a little brewery there as well. Cool. This hasn't happened yet, but we're going to kind of streamline it. Be a little bit of Big Lug, be a little bit of pizza there that we've done. Sam's Ale House Monon does it, and honestly, just try to make it like the Big Lug way, really unique, in the same vein we do right now, which is improve. Give the cultural trail something new on that side. Give the students at IUPUI somewhere fun and local to go to that's affordable, and also new and different, something they can kind of call their own. So we felt like we were in a better position to do that at Big Lug. So we decided to go that route, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So far, all the improvements have been well received by customers and employees, which is always the employees are the hardest ones to win over. So I'm glad they're into it. So it's. We'll see if I have to keep washing dishes or I can start doing other things. But
I mean, there are worse things to do than washing. That's not true. I couldn't even finish that sentence.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not great, man.
Great.
If you work at a restaurant and you don't thank your dishwasher every day, you're an idiot. Yeah. I tell my staff that. I'm like, man, you guys, go wash dishes one day, just one day, and no longer will you ever complain about anything. Like, you won't complain about anything.
It gives you perspective.
It's the worst.
Right.
But some dudes love it because it's like you just got to grunt it out. You just got to get it done.
Just go do your thing.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit. So as the restaurant industry, and we see a bunch of new restaurants popping up every year in Indy. See new ones open up, old ones close down, or new ones close down.
Nature of the beast.
Right? It just kind of happens a lot. But the restaurant
faster
industry,
and faster nowadays.
It
has.
In Indy is growing and thriving a little bit. We're getting, Erin's favorite. We're getting like a dozen new steakhouses every other day.
Yeah.
And how are restaurants keeping up with the demand for employees in this space, or are they?
Yeah. It's an untalked about problem, right? I think that when you look at unemployment, it always feels like it's an amazing thing when the number goes down, and it is. I mean, you want everyone to have jobs and be successful, livable wages, the freedom to do the things that they would like to do, the financial ways to get there. But at the same time, businesses have to be aware of the problem that exists right now, and the problem that exists is that, man, there's just no one to hire. Right, and that's not to say there's not people who need jobs, but there are people that 6 years ago, let's say, for instance, I'd get an application a week. Sometimes I get 6 or 7. Right. So I always had someone I could call and be like, "Hey, you still interested? You want to come in and train? All right, let's go. Come on in." There was a time earlier this summer, probably about 4 months went by. I didn't get a single application.
Really?
Now, I'm in the lucky position that I have a really good staff at most of my places. I'll say most so I can keep them all lingering if they listen to this.
Just in case,
Was that us?
When you throw it out on social, just in case.
I got a lot of really good people who work for me, and I trust them, and I know they care about the business as much as I do, and that's great. But to not get an application for 4 months is like, man, I mean, there's just not really people who are looking. Now, whether to improve, they've found a good job, good for them. That's great. It is a good thing to have people who are employed, but at the same time, if you're going to open up a new business and you're going to take your hard-earned money or go borrow from the bank and decide that debt is the way you would like to go for the next few years, which is a scary venture, if you've decided that this is the path you want to take, I just feel like it's very important for people to know that it's hard. It's a desert out there for hiring qualified people, because most of those qualified people, they got a job at new steakhouse that opened up. They got a job as a server or a lead bartender or something along those lines. So, right now the unemployment, it's almost a negative point where for me to hire somebody, almost it's like I got to steal them from somebody else, and that's not my game.
Yeah.
I'm not going out there to restaurants like, here's my business card. Call me if
call me if you need a new job.
But that's
maybe,
what you start
sorta.
to see happen, right? I mean, that's kind of where this path leads. And so you talk about all the openings. Hey, man, I'm always for people who are following their passions and want to do something they love. Go for it. Those people are more likely to be successful than someone who's just doing to make a buck. But if you're not going in with the idea that, hey, you got to hire good people and quality people, and are they there? If you haven't done your research, then I'm kind of here to tell you that it's getting tougher. It really is. It's getting harder, and that's where you're seeing places close. You got someone who has all the passion, but you can only work a set amount of hours.
Yeah.
Right. Eventually, it runs out. You can work every hour of the week, but eventually, it runs out, and
you're going to die right there unless you have some really good talent to be able to support
Yeah.
you. One of our viewers actually chimed in and asked William Davis. He asked, "How many issues do you have with people actually showing up once you've actually offered them?"
Oh yeah. Well, that's the Craigslist hire for you, right? I have hired probably 100 people off Craigslist in my time. And I have hired amazing people off Craigslist. I mean, just they've come in and they killed it. And I have hired a lot of people off Craigslist who just didn't show up. They came in, they interviewed, I'll take the job, here you go, sign this, get your number, see you tomorrow. No show, right? And it's not the end of the world. At least it wasn't like a conversation where there were 4 shifts in or whatever, and I had to waste all that time training and whatever. So, yeah, man, it happens, and you just gotta with restaurants especially, because they didn't. More than likely, it wasn't like they're like, man, Sam's place is the end all be all for me, and if this is the only place I'm applying. Like, they applied to 40 places.
Hey, man, it's beer cake, right?
Yeah,
So,
beer cake, and here I'm going to be. So, they got a job closer to home. They got a job that offered them 25 cents more, $1 more,
yeah.
and
there's a lot of those factors out there.
yeah.
But we're also understanding that there's a freelance realm now, this gig economy, as it applies to restaurateurs and wait staff and bartenders. We would need to get you connected with SnapShift. Obviously, that's a friend of the show, friend of the organization. They're kind of capitalizing in that space.
Absolutely, I listened to your show on that, and we've talked to them. They're great. We've kind of worked on it. We're trying to introduce it. It's tough for us because we're very large in the company, and we're trying to get something. But that's where I think that their specialty is going to lie for us is tying that together. But you're right, yeah, that's kind of where people have to start leaning to is how we can help each other and utilize each other's talent and people who want to do that.
It's almost like staff SWAT team that you can pull in. That's
absolutely
very cool. Well, it sounds like you have a really good team. Let me pivot around to. Literally, what's on the menu? Can you give us one thing that everyone should be ordering off of your restaurant's menu? One favorite item that you got?
Sure. If you went to Big Lug, I would say you have to get the Nashville chicken sandwich. I would go mild. Don't go hot if you're not into that thing. If you are, do it. But the Nashville chicken, I think, is like my go-to.
Yeah,
it's unique. Hey, there's a picture. Hey, that looks good.
Oh man, look at that!
Look at that HD quality. We take great pictures in Big Lug. We really know how to use our phones.
It totally looks like chicken somewhere.
But yeah, it's unique. We make our own bread. 24-hour brine chicken. That's really, really good. And then if you went to Sam's, man, Sam's is a jack of all trades. It really is all. We do take a lot of time with all of our dishes, but if you were to go there and you wanted something that was unique to what we were doing, man, I would get the Meatloaf Sandwich. Seriously, man, it's just like made fresh every morning, just delicious. We caramelized the onions. We got Munster cheese on there, American cheese. This really good ketchup, brown sugar, barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
and
what
it's
I
one
get
of those
every
sandwiches
time.
that you would just kind of look at and be like, I'd rather get. And it's like, no, man, just do it, just try it, and like get whatever side you want. We have like almost 26 sides, 27 sides, something like that. Get the side that you want, but man, those are the types of things that I think we do really well. The bread's homemade. It was made fresh that morning. The sauces are made in house. So yeah, I would say something like that.
You guys ever do a Manhattan style on that meatloaf?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, do a little load it up with some gravy and mashed potato. I'm all about gravy, man. I play
check out the poutine.
I play the gravy game. Yeah. So yeah.
What about, tell us a little bit about Sam's Ale House. So obviously that's opened up fairly recently. It's right next to Big Lug.
Yeah.
But what was the kind of the motivation behind that place and the atmosphere and the connectivity there?
Big Lug has a very unique vibe, and it wasn't purposely built to not be for everybody. And that's not to say we were trying to exclude any certain group. It was just like, look, man, this isn't going to be for everybody, and we know that, and that's okay. But for us to be truly ourselves, we want to build a place that we love and stand behind, and it's us. And there's a balancing act to that. I mean, we had the opportunity to do something else, and we knew that, people were looking for other beer, local beer, domestic, options that we didn't carry. And food options that we didn't do. Big Lug is very eclectic and unique in what we do, and it's kind of like, hey, man, this is all we have. There isn't some BLT on the menu or anything.
You don't have to be everything to everybody.
Exactly. And so, but we had a lot of good people who worked for us, and we had this setup that we knew could work. And with a little tweaking, Sam's Ale House came about. So really good tap list, a nice American casual restaurant feel. We built a space for us to host groups because, man, we get calls every week about hosting parties and events at Big Lug, but we don't have any space. So we built a space that we could do that. We can barrel age some beer over there. It really just gave us, options. Gave us the potential to grow and organically kind of introduce new things to what we're doing. So.
And you got a little walkout cooler if somebody walking along the Monon needs to take a little 4-pack or a 6-pack.
Yeah, we got
to-go
beer. Yeah, always fun stuff. Good like Central State stuff in there, and we got some Upland stuff. We got a lot of fun. Rotating beers. Yeah, it's a good little option. Hams too. I drink hams, so.
The
good PBR doesn't hurt anybody.
No.
Right, the brass monkey in the paper bag.
Sam's Place serves.
At Sam's Place.
We serve orange juice and hams in a brown paper bag called the brass monkey for $2 every Saturday and Sunday.
Cool. So
we just like sped right past the hams in the orange juice.
Well, we certainly want to. We want all of our listeners and viewers to go check out Big Lug. So they can check you out at biglugcanteen.com and watch you on the socials at Big Lug Canteen.
At your own risk. It's all me. It's all me, and it's not always great. So
yeah, it's kind of odd. I mean,
it is.
You can rubberneck every once in a while with
it's a mixture of what I do. Yes, I keep people on their toes.
Check out Big Lug Canteen on Facebook. Final thought to business owners in Indianapolis and maybe some of what their responsibility really is for community relationships.
Man, I just wish that everyone at their heart of hearts would get together with the local community, the people around you. I'm talking your next door neighbor. It doesn't matter if they're a boutique shop, if they're a hardware store, if they're if it's Snap Shift. I mean, right? It doesn't matter. Go talk to them. See what you guys are, what your goals are, what you guys have in common, and then start from there. I mean, there's some amazing groups around town. Big Car, and you look at what these people are doing, and it doesn't take that much work. It doesn't take that much money. It just takes people with common mindsets. You can't do it by yourself. I mean, It's tough. So I would say if business owners and people who are trying to get into business would just take a second, slow down, figure out what everyone around them is trying to do, and then go make some fun stuff happen. It's going to help your bottom line numbers. It really is. If people see that there's a movement happening, some vibe happening, and if there's just fun, original stuff going on, it doesn't matter what it is. There's people around here who want it. There's people who are into it. So you be yourself, and then figure out who around you has that same mindset, and go make something happen. That's what I would recommend. So.
Cool. Just do it.
Do it, man.
Be friends with your neighbors.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
It's like Mr. Rogers, I think, talked about this at some point.
Yeah.
In
Okay,
time,
everybody,
but-
put your sweaters on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is the thing, is that the community wants to see those restaurants and those organizations not only give back, but just be friendly.
Yeah, when did training kindness become important? It's like that's
right.
it's like I have to train people to like, hey, you got to be nice to people, and they're like.
Fine, I guess. That seems okay.
Yeah, okay. All right,
If you tell me to.
I'm not really feeling it today.
Yeah, man, just be nice. Whatever. It seems like such a ridiculous thing to have to say, but be nice. It's not that hard.
I dig it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and we need to take a crew up to Big Lug and just have that chicken.
Yeah.
That stuff sounds
yeah,
fantastic.
I highly recommend it. At least
Absolutely.
once, maybe twice. In the
Maybe
same
beer
day.
cake.
Maybe beer cake.
Down with a beer cake. All right. Hey, thank you so much for everybody here from a production standpoint, as well as all the guests today. Be sure to check out Damar Services and give. I mean, the point is, again, I failed to do it. Text to the number 444-999, the word Indy, and start your donation process. It's less than $1 a day to get those radio bracelets for children with autism. Make sure that you do it. We want to challenge our audience out there, and post inside this feed. Let us know that you did that, and we're going to certainly champion that. Great talking with Beer.
Beardy Sahm.
Big Lug.
Beer cake guy.
Beer cake. See, it's in my head right there. That's
Don't worry,
it.
Eddie. I won't forget you.
Thank you.
Eddie, thanks so much for joining us, and certainly go choose local and jump into Big Lug Canteen wherever you are.